Welcome everybody, Anthony here, 6-Scale Mafia. Today, we have a special guest. As you may have may not know, Joost, my friend, how are you doing, my man? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Very good. Yeah, I'm so sorry your special guest couldn't be there, so I'm here.
Oh, that's funny. That's great,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last time we talked was January.
Yeah, lots of stuff happened since then. So it was nice for you to invite me back, and I can share a lot of stuff from the past couple of months.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I've been seeing a lot of updates in your Facebook group and lots of cool stuff happening. So what do you want to talk about today, then? I guess.
Well, let's start with a nice exclusive for you then. So this is what I haven't shared it yet, but I'm going to share the first few pictures of the almost final prototype of the 1995 Batmobile.
Oh, all right. Right out the gate. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Jump right in, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. So this is the build. So this right here is a still in progress picture. So what you're looking at is the second 3D printed prototype, as yet unpainted, which is why you see there's some sanding marks, and there's a mismatch between the blacks of the canopy and the rest of the vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. So it's important to note that this is definitely still rough because it's a 3D printed prototype, and there's no way to get rid of the 3D printing marks altogether. That will not be there in the final production version, obviously, but just to show you where we're at right now. For a sense of scale, you know the Batwing's quite big, right? And you see that at the top right corner.
Oh yeah, that's the part of the Batwing right there.
Yeah. So this is quite a big piece. Working on the cockpit, we got the files done for the gauges. There's lights there, of course. The steering wheel rotates. We're testing out different light setups from that come from behind the outside skeleton, exoskeleton type thing. Also testing out different lighting patterns. So what you're seeing here is just again a test, but not final. You're seeing quite a lot of detail and hoses beneath the exoskeleton, like the real deal. Lights inside the cockpit. We posted a request in the Facebook group a while ago about this, where if you look at the, can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can.
I'm bringing in a little full screen so we can get a better view.
So there are shots of this part that are lit up. There are parts and shots where this part is not lit up. According to the experts that we consulted, all we're seeing here is actually reflection of the light coming from here and here. And so that's why it's slightly different color and slightly less bright, just like in the movie, which is accurate. And so we basically put a fabric underneath, just like the real thing, so that you get the indirect light. We actually put up a vote in the group, and that's what the people wanted, to have the option of showing that light here. So
I see. Yeah, okay. Because so in the movie, that's pretty much what they were saying. Like that back wasn't as prominently lit.
No, and I can show you pictures where you can't even see any lights here. And all the lights do look very indirect. And so after a poll, we decided this is what the people want. So this is how we make the prototype. Now, this is the part of the interior. You're looking at the inside of the canopy roof. There's also a lot of buttons and stuff in there, right? Mm-hmm. And then this is the inside of the cockpit. Again, it's a little rough here and there because this is the 3D printed prototype, but again, the lights that are supposed to be here and here and here, the screen here, the gauges here, it's all there, you know. As for the front, we've got the, I don't know, I can see it on my screen, but not on yours. It's probably the compression, but there's a little bit of gauze or something in black behind this. Again, you're seeing the 3D printed lines of the test prototype that you won't see in the final product. And so we're looking to use the paint I'm pointing to in this picture for the silver parts that is also still not visible in this prototype. So so yeah, that's basically where we're at. As you can see, just like the movie, a part like this, it hardly shows any light, so it's really dependent on the angle, where here you see it. So we think, based on, well, it's also confirmed by the expert that this is the correct way to do that front hood bit. So that's where we're at with the 1995 and the first of the scoop images I have to share for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I think everybody in the chat probably appreciates it as well. That's tough because it's 95, but I kind of like the movie and I have the figures, and you know how it goes. You know how it goes. I don't know. It's looking awesome. Do I need 3 Batmobiles?
You need them all.
I mean, right? I mean, maybe, right? I mean, we've got the 66, obviously, which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
And the 89. Then the 95. It's like, it looks great though. This looks great. So this is like our first. This is our first prototype, physical prototype, essentially.
No, technically it's the second, but yeah. So this is the just an update on how that's going, testing out, like I said, the different lights and the interior and all the details. And as you see, there's a whole lot of wiring going on in this thing as well. So it's quite a lot of work, but we're still on schedule for the end of this year for this one, because as soon as the prototype has been approved by Warner Brothers, we can start the tooling for production, which, as I might have mentioned in our previous streams, usually takes around 3 to 4 months at least with these very large items to make and machine and then make the parts and all that sort of thing. So
for those who may not know, is there a price point set for this, or 2 different editions, or a single edition, or anything?
Yeah. So it's a single edition. Just this is and it's going to have all the lights. It's going to
attention.
Let's
humans.
see. Before I say something that's not true, let me go to the website.
No, take your time. Take your time. We can pull it up.
I want to make sure that I'm right here, but I think the 1995. So people ask, when is the pre-order closing? So like everything, as soon as we have approval and we're going into production, that's when I close the pre-orders. So that would mean you will have, I guess, a month, maybe 2, to get your pre-order in as soon as we have the final prototype to show, so you know what you're getting. And it's going to be better than what we're showing, because we always do improvements up until production, right?
Sure, of course.
So it's it's going to be this unit, as you can see, with the full lights on all of them, and it's $1,449 for this unit. So that's
$1,500.
$1,449. So $1,450.
Okay, $1,449. I got you. $1,449.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So So basically, that's all the news I have for the 1995. And like I said, pre-orders will probably close in 1 or 2 months.
Oh, okay. So we're almost in June. So what are you thinking? Maybe around August, approximately?
Maybe even July. July. So, yeah. Hey, Bob. Nice to see you again. Always there.
We got Mr. Mom here too.
Thank you. That is cool. I'm very honored. Yeah.
Very cool. That's funny. It comes with a mini Stanley cup. Oh, that's great. That is great. Yeah. Uncommon Flex, my man. Thank you so much, my dude, again, for redoing the channel membership, my man. Appreciate. Well, that's really cool then. So end of probably, so July-ish. That's not
for
that
the
far
pre-orders to close. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then it's going to be extremely limited edition. I can tell you, it's the least sold of all of them. So we're really scratching against that minimum order quantity that all my suppliers need for the parts and all that sort of thing. But so it's probably going to be the most limited edition Batmobile you can get, which also, because I always get this question from 1 or 2 people, what about the 1997? I'm thinking, if the 1995 is this hard to sell, the 1997 is probably even bigger problem.
Yeah, I don't know if it's as popular.
No, so
I mean,
it's probably
The 95 is kind of right, but I mean, when you look in terms of, I mean, the 89 is obviously probably way more successful than that. So as you're kind of going down that, it's just that era, right? That 90s era Batman. I think it just kind of goes in order of the movies, really, right?
Yeah.
Like you got 89, Returns, Forever, Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No. Yeah, but that definitely looks really, really awesome. What do we have? 16 Shooter says just paid off the 66 Batmobile. Now that I have
very
room for
cool.
it.
Very
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so for the 1966, that closes out entirely this year. We only have one more batch to do when before we close out the entire run, right? And so, if you want to get on the wait list, you still can, but the chances are getting quite slim that your wait list will convert on the 1966. I'm not saying no, because as long as we didn't deliver the last car, it could happen. But the list is getting longer and longer, and the people who still need to get theirs is getting shorter and shorter. So it's just a simple statistics.
Right.
Same goes for the 19 not the 19 whatever, the bat signal. So we only have one more batch to make of that, and we had enough parts to allow for a few more pre-orders. So if you're interested in the bat signal, that's going to go away very soon as well.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a minute? Because I was curious. So was that just due to popular demand or not enough awareness at the time? Because I had noticed that the bat signal's back.
Yeah, well, there's only a couple of slots left. So I guess a lot of people didn't know about us, especially now that so many things are... it's only been a year now since we've started delivering these Batman-related items with, the official licensing and all that.
Right,
that started around... I think that started around April or May last year. So, and now that people seeing the stuff in hand, the show that we can deliver on the 1966, we've shown that we can deliver on the 1989 Batmobile. That's even so the bat signal. A lot of people late to the party, and so I guess we didn't sell a whole lot of those bat signals. So we had quite a few parts and all of that sort of left, right? So we were like, okay, if we're making that final batch, it makes sense to finish using up the parts that we made, right?
Sure,
and so that's why there's a couple of extra that are going to be available. And when did we schedule that? I think the last batch is the same as the last batch for the 1989 Batwing, which is around December of this year. So at the end of this year, we'll be done with all batches and all production of the 1966 Batmobile, the 1989 Batwing, and the Bat Signal. And then we might, as far as it looks now, we'll also have delivered most of the signature BVS and Justice League Zack Snyder signature versions. We'll have delivered the 2022. We'll have started delivering the 1995. And that's all this year, right? So there's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's a lot coming. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, because I've had a lot of people. I mean, I've kind of since rearranged my cameras a little too low, but at the time, like a lot of people were like, "Oh, where's that? Where did you get that bat signal?" Like people didn't. A lot of people didn't know either. So I see what you mean by that. So I was like, "Oh, you can go here on the website and go check it out." But I think at the time, right? Yeah, it had been gone for a while, and like you said, with success lately, and this is a really big year, I think, for you.
Yeah. How are we going to follow that up? That is really a thing. Well, we've got some plans that we can discuss later in the stream.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's a big year, and so I just today, actually an hour ago, opened the poll for. Okay, so let me answer that question. Is it too late to get on the wait list? Definitely not too late to get on the wait list, especially since we haven't delivered a single unit yet. Yeah, so I would say if you get on a wait list now, your chances are still pretty good, whereas getting on the wait list for the 1966 Batmobile, your chances are looking quite slim. If you're interested in the 2022, I would suggest getting on the wait list because we got all the batches yet to deliver, right?
Well, for the 66 too, right? Like so correct me if I'm wrong, last time we spoke, there's the orders are taken, right? But there's still like a final batch coming out in the next little while. Yeah,
so in all cases, if it's sold out, then all the orders have been counted, and that's how we produce. And there's two things that make you convert from your wait list. Either somebody has to cancel, which from our experience in the last 6 years of doing this is always around 10 to 15% of people that either they lose their job or somebody gets really sick and or their interests change, they stop collecting. So whatever the reason, right? So there's that 10 to 15% chance that somebody in that batch who has now bought that thing is not going to buy it, and that's where the waitlist comes in. The second thing is that we always make a couple extra. So I usually make around 6 to 7% extra pieces, and the reason for that is simple, that everybody who's ordered one should be able to get one regardless of what happens. So if FedEx loses a package, if it gets stolen from your porch, or if there's shipping damage or any other issue, we need those backup units so everybody gets what they paid for, right?
Right.
Now, usually, if I make 6 to 7% extras, and our service issues, or all the issues I mentioned, from service issues to packages getting lost or damaged, the total never exceeded 3%. For the Batwing, it's less than 1%, right? So then you also have a good chance on the wait list at the end of the run, or maybe even earlier, when I can tell, oh, we're never going to be using all of that 7%, 6 or 7% safety margin. That's where the waitlist is for too, right? So if I don't have to use all the 6 and 7%, and we've never had to before, that's when we can contact you and say, hey, you're on the waitlist. We have a couple of units left available. And for the Bat Signal, that was even more, because we had those extra parts that we never used because the initial run or the sales weren't that high. At first, people caught on quite late.
Okay, I see what you mean. So then we just saw with the extra. Okay, I got you. So then I was like, okay, well, we have enough that we can continue this at this point, rather than. Oh, my phone just fell. That's funny. So let me grab that. I was like,
yeah. So it's just those extra units or those cancellations, those safety units or the cancellations is what you put yourself on the wait list for. And I can usually judge if your chances are good. Like in 2022, I'd say your chances are still okay. 1966, it's going to be a stretch. It's going to be,
Right. But for the most part, I get it. Yeah, about 50% of people. I mean, like you said, I mean, life happens. Things happen, right? So. But I think the earlier you get on a wait list, probably the better
so if you
may have.
Yeah, exactly. So if you get on the wait list in the first 2 weeks, I'd say your chances of getting one are close to 100%. And then the longer you wait, the less chance, down to where we are now for the 1966. I'd say 10-15% chance, maybe. Okay. Hey, brother Cousins.
Brother Cousins in the house, my man Jay. How are you doing, my man?
Nice.
Another owner of the 66.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I'm very honored with that.
Very cool. And I know people kept asking me too, but I guess while you're here, we can just say that I appreciate that it ended up it was the remote as to why this wasn't. I think what happened for me was customs, because I saw on my tracking log that Customs had it for a while, and I think maybe they had like opened the battery, something. You know,
because
I appreciate it because
I sent you the video of the unit I sent you, and I tested it.
I know, that's why I was like, there's nothing wrong with this. I know there's nothing wrong with this, but so I would just recommend if anybody has a remote, right, to check the battery, because I think that's what it was, this shit worked no problem. So definitely appreciate. That's the problem, right, with customs though. Sometimes they'll just they don't know. Like, but that's what you're saying too, right? Having that extra just in case something happens in shipping or
always.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You don't know the shit we see. Yeah, and you got to be ready for everything. So
I mean, a lot of us collect, a bunch of different, 6 scale figures, as you know, and so much other stuff. And I couldn't tell you how many times, even just with that, like with just a small box, it comes here looking like it was, kicked down a football field.
Yeah,
and that's just
Yeah, and even then, the figure is probably going to be okay, right? So we've had
usually,
boxes. Yeah, I can show you pictures of boxes, and if I tell you it's been mauled by a bear, you'll probably believe me because that's how it looks. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing the figures, man, because it's going to be a whole lot easier to ship and get it in one piece.
Is that something you want to talk about right now, or a little bit later, or at all?
Let's go. No, I don't care. Let's talk about the figures.
This is your show, my friend. I'm just the vassal right now.
Nice. So, okay, so the good news I can tell you right now is that I've heard from the guy highest up in the chain at Warner Brothers International Worldwide for toys and all that. He is such a fan that I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I was worried that I wouldn't be getting the license worldwide, right? So that the agents, Warner Brothers licensing agents in China and Korea and Japan would block us because they have the interests of Hot Toys and in art and those boys to take care of. Anyway, apart from Vietnam and North Korea, we've got the worldwide license for figures. So that is happening.
Okay, I'm gonna full screen. You can say that one more time.
So we have the worldwide license for Warner Brothers for figures.
That is
Batman.
Awesome.
Yeah, Batman. I could even do a couple of more IPs, but for now I'm focusing on Batman, and really I want to do 1966, 1989, 1992. The popular, most requested, and then figures. Maybe the B figures. We've also discussed the figures that they didn't do for the 2022, like Catwoman, Inspector Gordon.
So when you say Batman, that's what, 1966 all the way to 2022 of any, just Batman as a wide blanket, heroes, villains, and anything.
Yeah. So we're now at the stage. I've made a list. I checked it twice, and we sent that in. And now they're checking with the actors and the estates if we get approval for that specific figure. So yes, we get to make figures, and now we're making the figures that the people have been requesting. So we're thinking about doing a double pack for so the only Batman I want to touch is the 1966 Batman and Robin. Maybe do a double pack for Batman, Bruce Wayne, Robin, Dick Grayson. But for the rest, we really want to do the characters that haven't been done yet, right? So Catwomen that have been done that have been in the 1966 show. Well, the illegal version of the Joker, that's already pretty good. So I don't know if there's room.
Can we? I was actually going to ask you about that because
go ahead.
We have Mars toys out there, right? Like you mentioned, I have the 66 Romero, which I think is a phenomenal piece.
Yeah,
all things considered, it's up there right now for me as like figure of the year. Now, with that said, right? However, right, it is third party, but they are also doing a lot of Batman of all different. So, is that something that you would? Does that consider it? Does that a thought that comes into your head, or like you mentioned, like, well, I don't know if I want to do the Joker because there's one out. Like, is it going to be oh, if they're doing this, then we're just going to go this way, or is there, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I have to go where the odds are best for us, and where they're. So I love filling the holes in people's collections, right? So there's a Romero. So let's think of Alfred or the Penguin for 66, but there's so many figures we can do in 66,
so
right?
Many.
Right. Batgirl. Like I've done now. Right, if you go to my closed Facebook group now, we've put up a poll for the next 1966 vehicle. So Batcopter, Batboat, Batcycle, or parts of the Batcave, and popular vote wins, and that's what we'll be making as the next vehicle for 1966 and 6 scale. Same is going to be for the figures. As soon as we have approval from the estate, so for 1966, it's probably going to be from the estates mostly, and then I can put up a vote of which do you want to see, because the way we work with our bare bones operation and low cost, we can. We don't need to make a run of tens of thousands of figures to make it work, right? So even if I sell a couple of hundred worldwide, that's fine, right? So it can be a B or a C character. So I'm just going to put it to a vote, and again, the group decides what the first figures will be. I've got a couple of amazing sculptors that I've already applied for the job. The people in the community know.
Right, people in the community that I'm sure I'm aware of. A lot of us are aware of.
And so we might even put that to a vote. I don't know yet. That might be a bit confrontational. But anyway, so we've got some very talented people. We've got, with all the experience we have from the Iron Scavenger, we've got that sorted with the figures, with the bodies, with clothing and all that. And we've got a whole separate supply chain already, so that doesn't interfere with anything we're doing for vehicles and dioramas. And I've been listening to the communities. People have been saying, I want Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. I think that's a good idea. We want Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, maybe Danny DeVito's Penguin. So for the 2022, Catwoman, Inspector Gordon, Scarecrow. And so there's a whole list of figures that were never even touched by the big brands, right? And I'm very into doing just that and finding what people would like to do more. What would like to see.
Sorry, so what you were saying, so worldwide, so there's no blocks, there's no roadblocks anywhere. Like you just got the worldwide. I mean, in terms of, let's say Hot Toys is like, you know what, we teased, which they did, the 66 Joker a long time ago, and then which we doubt is ever going to happen. But let's say they put that out, and you're in the middle of working on that. There's no they don't take like a priority. There's no priorities as far as the license is concerned. It's just whether or not you're like, well, I'm still going to do it anyway because you can. Yeah. Is what I mean. Okay.
So I would never have to get permission from see, the thing is, Hot Toys isn't a very big fish for Warner Brothers either. So if they want exclusive rights, they need to be big, like McFarlane Toys big, right? They do huge volumes, and so and I'm not even sure they have the exclusive rights. I mean, we're talking Mattel type, Hot Wheels type volume. Before you can talk exclusive rights with Warner Brothers, you have to do millions and millions and millions in licensing fees, which is only a small percentage of the actual sales, before you can talk exclusive rights. So if we have the rights, and I say we do something, no matter what other producers do, I can just go ahead and do my thing.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I want to ask you a couple of questions about that to follow up, but I do have a couple super chats that we can get to really quick. Kinky Sphincter, thank you, my man, for the $5. It says, Joost, please put in a word for 1/6 Darkseid for Zack Snyder Justice League. I understand Steppenwolf not being made, but if anyone could make that figure, it could be you.
Sure. I've got a list, I think. Let me add that before I forget. I mean, I'm open to these kinds of ideas, right? Why not?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so I definitely appreciate that, my friend. And Brother Cousins with a $5 bomb as well says, that's amazing. You and your team deserve it. Eartha, Julie, and Pfeiffer, please.
Yeah. I'm game. So from the first two, which one should be the first, Eartha or Julie?
Well, I guess it would matter on a couple of things. For example, and this is kind of where I wanted to ask you, since we were on the topic of this, how long of a turnaround do you think you may project from like an announcement to a release? Is this going to be a 16-month kind of Hot Toys thing, or a once a year type in-art thing? You know what I mean? Or is it going to be sooner than later? And I know that may be too early to tell right now, but if you have like just like an estimate projection of turnaround time.
Yeah, I would say from initial pre-order opening date till delivery, yeah, it's probably going to be around 14 months, I would say.
So,
because yeah, maybe faster, but yeah, realistically, that's the kind of time it takes. Because you're spending a lot of time at first waiting for approvals and all that sort of thing. I mean, that first approval process, from approval to do the character, to approving of the prototype, to approving of the final the early production version, there are many approval steps, and each of them will take up to a month. So in approvals alone, I've lost 3 or 4 months before I can really get up to speed with production. Then you have to do the tooling. Then all the suppliers have to line up and have time. So yeah,
there's a lot of waiting around, like, which I understand, like just waiting for approval. And fortunately, like you're saying, it's gonna be a separate team rather than the main team that's working on the set pieces and the larger pieces of vehicles and stuff. So that's interesting, though. That's not I can totally understand that. But now, do you have a projection? I know this is still in early stages, so obviously the information may not be set in stone yet, but do you have any kind of estimate or what you would like to produce, like, annually through figures? Or is this going to be kind of like a, hey, if we have interest, we'll make it? Or could you say, like, hey, I want to make, I want to set out to do at least like 10 figures a year or something like that?
Yeah, well, that really depends on a couple of factors. I was thinking more between 3 and 5 figures a year to start.
Okay.
Because I don't know. The biggest thing is two things. So one, how many figures per year do you think the market could support? Because you don't want to kill the chances a figure could have if people have to pass up because there's just too much coming, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and the second thing is, what can suppliers handle? Because it's in many cases you are talking about custom or customized bodies to get not only the exact height but also the right body type and size. So you're never done with just a head sculpt. You also have to modify the body, and that's just, again, that's custom tooling that needs to be made, and all that sort of thing. And we don't have a ton of experience yet with this supply chain specifically. So I want to be careful there. I would love to do 10 figures a year. I think there's plenty to do, especially with the stuff I want to discuss with you at the end of this video. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned, guys.
Remind me. Yeah, so this is the beginning of something greater, is all I can say. And as you know, we've always been the eyes, ears, and voice and hands now, making stuff for the community. And I can imagine.
I don't know if we just lost Joost. Oh, there you go. You've always been the eyes and ears, and then it froze.
Oh, okay.
But you're back. You're back.
Yeah, okay. So the eyes, ears, and hands of the community making stuff that people want, right? And so I can, like I said, I can see this becoming something greater. Why wait until the end of the show for? I'm still going to tease something for the end of the show, but I've been approached by the people representing brands that are like Top Gun, Karate Kid, RoboCop, Men in Black, and a couple of other nice, I would say, mid-licensing things. I can imagine that would not be of interest to Hot Toys, but I would love to see like a Karate Kid and a Mr. Miyagi for my collection, having a Maverick for your collection, right? And maybe Goose, and maybe an Iceman, right? I can imagine that's not going to sell tens of thousands of units like Hot Toys would need, but a couple hundred, sure, right?
Yeah.
Officially licensed. So I could go beyond Warner Brothers with the figures, is what I'm saying. If the people who approached me, if we can work out something.
Well, that's going to be. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I would. Yeah, exactly. That's so.
Like I said, a lot's been happening for the last couple of months.
Yeah. Like, okay, damn. So this could really turn into.
Much more than Batman.
Yeah, it could just be much more. Right. It could be much more than Batman. It can be. It potentially could turn into a lot of different kind of IPs then. I mean, figure specific, or are they also mentioning like, hey, not only are we interested in maybe you doing figures, but you can also do certain things, maybe like a cockpit, you know?
Yeah, a 14 cockpit is what I've been thinking. I did see a good point here in the chat. Good luck getting Tom Cruise to sign off on his likeness. That might be an issue. But yeah. So yeah, I can imagine something like that. And likewise, I've always said that I'd love to work with Universal to do kit. And then you would also have the figure. You had to have David Hasselhoff.
Gotta have the Hoth.
Exactly. And then Jurassic Park is also Universal Studios, so we could do the Jeep. Maybe even do a Velociraptor in 6 scale, but you would also do Grant and Malcolm and, you know, all that sort of thing. So this is all part of my multi-year plan right now, right? So how do you follow up a year like this year with so many huge hits, basically, is what I'm thinking. And I think several different IPs and figures is going to be a nice way to expand in the future.
So next year could potentially be the year of the figures.
Yeah, second half. I'm with that lead time, we would be in the second half of next year for the first figures that we could actually be releasing. So opening pre-orders somewhere later this year after this. Okay.
Awesome, CT.
Yeah.
I'm
so
sorry, it threw me off too.
Opening,
what you were saying?
Opening pre-orders somewhere, I hope in September for the first couple of figures, and first deliveries after the summer of next year for the figures. And again, it does not interfere with the other plans that we have, right?
No, for sure. Now, this is interesting from Iron King. He's saying, have you considered maybe a numbered edition and signed pieces for figures? Because I'm curious about that too. Is that a...
I think that's inevitable even, because yes, I have thought about it, especially for those figures where it's going to be hard to get to even our minimum order quantities to make it more interesting and make it more more attractive. We can definitely do a couple of those, especially, and I'm thinking out loud here, so Zach has loved what we're doing, and we're going to be making a very significant donation to his charity of choice because of his signature plates this year.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder. Okay. And sorry. Yeah, Mr. Zack Snyder.
You're good.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Zack. This is for those who don't know, right? But anyway,
Zack Snyder. And so I could imagine going back to the suggestion for Darkseid, if that's at all possible, maybe we do a numbered signature edition of Darkseid next year to get money raised for that same charity. I think it's a matter of the right opportunity at the right time for a numbered signature edition, like we've done before. I definitely see that coming.
Well, I think
King of the world.
Hell yeah. We have and I mean, I can't speak on behalf of the entire 6 scale community or collecting community, but I will say that that's one thing that is lacking, is any semblance of exclusivity. Whether it's Hot Toys, even in art, anybody, 3.0, you name it. It's always a kind of made to order situation, right? We'll open up pre-orders, we'll get X amount, we'll make a little extra, and then we'll cut off PO, and then that's it. Or on the flip side with Hot Toys, it's just straight mass production. So a lot of people that I've talked to in the community, myself included, I mean, it'd be very nice if we were like, I have this figure, this Adam West or whatever, and only like 200 are made or something. Right? It just feels, and I know that's not everybody. Some people don't care, but I know there's if exclusivity can come in any shape or form, kind of on a regular, that could be something that's a standout. I want to say feature, but something that you could be known for. If that makes sense. If that's something that you weren't even considering.
It would be nice to have a couple of products that don't run out as fast, because I basically, for half of that project, it's the same amount of work if I made 200 or 500 or 1,000. Now, again, I'm never talking about Hot Toys volume. I mean, almost recently I heard that for even for something that's already been done, like the Hot Toys DeLorean, the reissue is now reported over 20,000 units worldwide. I mean, so I'm never going to get to that volume, but even 1,000, that would be amazing, right? So I don't see it happening for all figures, even though if I make 1,000, then it's going to be apart from any custom job you've done, it's going to be the most limited edition figure in your cabinet, right?
Right.
But I hear what you're saying, and I think a limited edition numbered unit or run for specific units, and
specific. I can see not every single release, right? But something a little more unique, something special.
Yeah, exactly. Because thinking out loud again, thinking of Adam West and Burt Ward. That's
what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because it's been done by Hot Toys, and then there's been the sort of illegal thing that's been announced recently from China, right? So how do you compete with that? Officially licensed, numbered, limited edition. I can imagine that working.
Right, and with yours too, I think you're probably the only one so far that I've even heard that would even consider the civilian attire. Yeah,
I'd love to do that. I mean, having the double pack with and that would so definitely the Bruce Wayne Batman and as a double pack limited edition, I could see that happening. I could definitely see that happening.
That would be a piece. That would be a piece. Do you have a couple super chats though real quick that we can get to? 16 Shape, my man, he's much says Conan the Barbarian figure. He's a big Arnold fan.
Yeah, sure. The thing is getting the license. So I would have to find out where that license is currently held. So anything Warner Brothers is easy for me. Universal is probably up for discussion, because I want to, if I can get a big package together for next year, like I said, Knight Rider, Jurassic Park, and who knows if they have Conan, probably not, but that would be a great thing. And then there's the third party that approached me that also holds the other licenses, the IPs, like I said, Top Gun, Men in Black. I mentioned them all. And one more, which I'm going to say for the end of the show. And so then those are the three entrances, right? But you don't want to diversify too much, because all of them are going to want a minimum guarantee, and all of them are going to require a lot of work and maintenance just to upkeep the relationship, get all the approvals and all that sort of thing. So, and that's probably not going to be doable for a company like us that has 3 FTE. Like,
right. Well, and that's the thing too, though. It's all about, like you mentioned, is that building up the rapport and reputation with, you know, company X, Y, Z, right? You know, your first time in, a lot of people don't understand that or realize that, you know, let's say, and I'm just throwing out just a hypothetical situation, but if Universal came to you and said, like, we would like you to make some Jurassic Park figures, however, we would like this minimum guarantee. So out of our IP that may cross from Jurassic Park all the way to the Jurassic World line, we would require at least 6 figures, and you can pick, but that's what we want minimum. And then, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily understand that it's not just like you. Some cases you're like, oh, I got a license, I can do whatever I want, right? You still have to meet, you know, certain guidelines. You got to go through all these different approval processes. Here's a sample, here's a sample, here's a sample. What do you guys think?
Exactly.
Oh, well, we got to change this, or the actor doesn't like his hair like this, or you know. And so there's a lot of wait time, and then you build that rapport, right? You start putting some stuff out, you put some stuff out, they'll be like, oh, okay, I like what you're doing. Okay, this is good. How about you go ahead and do this? How about we go ahead and do that? And then who knows where that can take you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's it took Warner Brothers about a year to get to that point. And now, like, which is why we got on the radar of the big guy, Kahuna, back in California. And now we get approached for all kinds of very cool stuff that I still can't talk about from Warner Brothers. But yeah, that's exactly, you're hitting the nail on the head. That's how that goes. And so I don't want to split my attention too thin and my financing too thin by going over too many of those relationships. Exactly.
100% agree with you on that. We do have a $5 super chat though. Thank you, my man, from Lord Fog. Says, hello, Mafia and Joost.
Hey,
can't wait for the 66 figures to go with my Jazzinc 66 Batmobile. Thanks for making such cool vehicles. I voted for the Copter and Cave.
Copter is going to be difficult. If I look at the votes as we have them now, I don't think. I think the Cave has a chance, and the Bat Bike. I think those two.
Oh, okay. I'm a fan of motorcycles, so any kind of bikes, right? Anything. You know, I've got a Final Fantasy VII motorcycle. I love. Yeah, if we get one of those, that'd be great. I still need to get that Harley. 6 scale from a Terminator, but you know, there's always something though, right? Like you mentioned though, like you mentioned, there's always something as collectors. So you want to be a little careful, right? When you're talking about how many figures you can maybe put out a year, you're like, I don't know if the market can support it, because people who are buying 6 scale typically are 6 scale collectors, which typically means, hey, they're, you know, Hot Toys' hands are in their pockets. Other companies, you know, so you have to factor all of that in. Like if you over saturate the market, you're gonna have, you know, you could be potentially looking at almost like a sideshow situation when there's just too much stock, right?
Yeah,
because there's too much stuff.
And we can't do that. Yeah, we can't do that.
Which I totally get.
I see a question for the Snowspeeder update. Maybe that's a good bridge to that.
That is a good bridge. Let's talk about that, because you had mentioned. You had some news and updates on the Snowspeeder that you'd like to share.
Yeah. What you're seeing here is actual production. All the windows are taped off. If you're wondering why that looks so weird, we got the box too. We've done some drop testing today. We'll be including extra decals. Now, don't worry, you won't have to apply them. These are just extras. This box is one huge MF. It's the biggest box we've ever had. And it's bigger than FedEx can ship. So we had to go to UPS for this one. Yeah. As you can see, the Snowspeeder fits. There's going to be a hardboard plate at the bottom of that as well. And we've also included buses at the bottom so that you can wall mount this. There's already a wall mount for this in production. And you're seeing the bolts in the package with the extra decals so that you can wall mount this. We're working on a video of stuff to do and don't lift it on this this laser gun. Lift it here. but all the while you can see what we've got. Let me show you a couple of videos.
Nice. I was going to say, do you have any videos? Is there? Yeah, if we can make it as, I don't know if you can make it any bigger, or is that's the max. Sure. If not, that's fine. But there we go. There we go. Just because I know a lot of people are watching on phones and stuff. But okay, so we've got a video here.
This is in production. As you can see, working on an extremely limited edition, right? So this is custom stuff that we do for the Snowspeeder. But yeah. And then we have the close-up of the removable panels and the stuff underneath with the I-beams and the rust and all that sort of thing. Again, these panels are, as you saw in the previous video, they are on as standard. But just to show you, this is the final version of the orange one. We've toned down the difference between those, the lighter panels and the darker panels. CT's pants are tightening up.
Well, he grabbed two, right? I mean, wow.
Yeah. So we've made this panel more narrow, made the space around the intakes there. So yeah, it's I think it looks pretty darned decent. Okay, this is the Batwing, but yeah, so Snowspeeder is looking good. We've got I think the first products are going out in the first weeks of July. So for the first batch on our website, we currently have June 30th. We might make that, might be 1 or 2 weeks later. However, for everybody who was after that first batch, and some of them expected in October, we're going to be able to deliver all Snowspeeders because we are making them so extremely limited in July. So if you bought one, pay it off, and you can have it in 6, 7, 8 weeks from now, and be done. It would help us a lot if you could. So if you have it on a payment plan, you can pay it off earlier. We really appreciate it. If you've gotten a shipping charge, please make sure that you pay it, because we're getting there. We're getting very close on the Snowspeeder, basically.
Wow. I must say, looking at it, no, I'm not getting through, because you know me, like we talk about it. I was like, dude, I can't get a Snowspeeder, and it's nothing for you or the work that's been done in it. It's just 3 feet by 3 feet for us. And
it's huge.
I'm like, where am I going to put this thing? But damn, looking at it like that, it's looking really, really good. A lot of us are obviously, old school Star Wars fans. Empire Strikes Back, arguably the best Star Wars movie ever. But there are some people, though, I do want to bring this up as well, because there's a lot of people coming in. There's always new collectors every day. Some may not know anything, don't even know what Jazzinc is, don't know anything. But for a point of example, that 𝗦𝗔𝗩𝗘 says Snowspeeder looks awesome as a small run in terms of units. Does anybody, for those that don't know, like, this is now sold out? There's just wait list, there's no wait list,
there is a wait list, and you'll have to hope for a cancellation or that we won't need our service units. And we will know quite soon, because we can deliver every unit in July. But on the other hand, there is people who are still on a payment plan that could run up until the end of the year. And if they just decide in November, all right, I'm almost done, but I don't want this, then you might be approached in as late as November or December, right? But yeah, I just thought it might be fun to show you. It does fit the Hot Toys and Sideshow figures. This is the one in the back, one in the front, right? So
wow.
Yeah, and this is the rough prototype here you're looking at with the decal just stuck on. For the real production version, there's only the red paint. So yeah, pretty happy with how this is turning out.
Oh, dude. And for those who don't, well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's sold out, but that Snowspeeder Luke is on sale today too, actually, on Sideshow's daily deal. It's like 20% off or something.
It's a sign.
It is a sign. Brother Cousins brings up a point that you almost glossed over that you were talking about. So are you saying you are having a mount being made, and is it included?
Okay,
or what did I hear there?
Yeah, it's very good that you touch on this. Let me hang on. Let me So the wall mount is that is going to be designed by the same people who have done the. Let's see if I have a rendering. He probably won't.
Sure.
Yeah, here we go. He won't mind that I'm showing the rendering. So the same people who made a wall mount for our Batwing asked us if we could include buses at the bottom of the Snowspeeder so that people have the option to wall mount this one as well. They designed this. I gave them the measurements.
Is this the same individual who made the mount for the 89 that we were seeing in the groups?
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
I think so. So you see the Rebel insignia. Stronghold Displays. There you go, Bob. Exactly. Stronghold Displays will be offering the Snowspeeder wall mount, and it will be compatible with our Snowspeeder, because I bought one of their Batwing Snowspeeder snow mount. I am in love with that sucker. It is beautiful. Right. So I want my wall. I was like, I want my Snowspeeder to be wall mounted as well. So I bought the Snowspeeder mount as well. I'm a collector. I don't have a lot of floor space because these things are huge. I'm putting both up the wall. I've got the Batwing on the wall already. The Snowspeeder is going to be on the wall in June or July when I'm done.
Wow. All right, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and then for your other question, what's going to be included? What's in the box?
Yes, what is in the box, my friends?
Yeah, so we did. Let me find that. I've just posted that in the Facebook group. So we've come up with a very strong and simple system. Ooh, the Bat Cave and the 1966 Bat Cycle are very close in the current votes.
I have been enabled. Brother Cousin. Oh, I love it. While we're looking, guys, hey, we got 120 in the chat, man. Let's go ahead and hit that like button, guys. This having Joost come take time out of his day. Appreciate it as always.
Of course.
For the updates for the community.
So if you could share the screen again.
Absolutely.
This is what's included in the box as standard and free. Of course, you can place your unit on its landing gear, but you will also have these poles included that slot into the same buses that you can use for the wall mount, the Stronghold wall mount display. So you can have a banking setup like this, and you can swap them out in different positions. So that's what I have for the that's included for free with the Snowspeeder. And then you can get the optional wall mount from Stronghold Displays. I'm just a customer, so I don't have any stock or whatever in their company, but I love their product. I have it, and so far so good, right? But
okay, that's pretty awesome. And so for your stand, you're saying you can alter it in different angles, essentially. You see multiple display kind of.
Yeah. You got 3 different heights that you can play with. So yeah.
Okay. Can I ask you, because I'm just curious as well, if there's it's kind of a serious question, but are you okay? So it's in terms of, and we're not going to talk about figures, right? But in terms of vehicles in particular, moving forward with these current announcements and releases, are these going to be one and done situations, or do you plan on revisiting them again down the road? The reason I ask is because a lot of people in the community often wonder that, right? Like, hey, if I buy this now, or if I wait, do I have a chance in like a year or two? Is it going to come back? Or do you have like a set, not necessarily like a guideline of sorts, but are you looking into that path where you're like, I make this and we're done and we move on to the next product? Or
Right now, I'm very much of the mind that it's one and done. We're making it, and then it's over. You see, it's hard to say never say never say never. So let's take the situation with the Justice Mobile, and where then Zack Snyder approaches me and asks me, "Would you be interested for charity to do a limited edition signature run of those vehicles?" And then I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So never say never, but basically, you should assume that once it's sold out, we're not gonna do a reissue of the. So it's never going to be a reissue of the exact same thing. I can guarantee you that. So with the Zack Snyder one, we made a different version. Price was much higher, so the people who got the first version got a much better deal, basically, especially considering inflation and all that sort of thing. So I don't want to do the Hot Toys thing where we just revisit and reuse.
Right, because now we're seeing another, 89, for example. We're seeing another 89 Hot Toys vehicle. Granted, it's been a while since they put theirs out, but it's like, again, right? And I think, they've done that with the Tumbler of sorts as well, and I just, it's kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, like with a lot of people in the community, it's kind of nice, some people enjoy that, having that exclusivity, right? Like, hey, I have this piece. Like, seriously, like nobody in this is why I love you, man, because I don't think anybody is as insane as you are when it comes to some of this stuff. And I mean that in a great way. Like, who the hell's going to make a 6-scale Batwing, dude, from 89? Right? Yeah. So in my head, I was like, dude, Joost is just putting this out, and it's like, who's ever going to make this? Right. Or who's ever going to make this again? So, but part of that is that all comes back to that, though. Like, a lot of people are like, dude, somebody comes over, they're like, what the hell is that? You're like, is that the Batwing? And you're like, yeah. And it's like, and that's it. It's like a one and done. It's an exclusive piece. And so that's what I was wondering, because there's a lot of people. I mean, I know some people I know even in the chat are like, hey, I don't care about exclusivity, and that's totally fine, right? But for a lot of people, that's why I was thinking, like, it is something special. It's kind of once in a lifetime opportunity. But I get your point, though. If somebody came and said, hey, we would love to do something very special to commemorate, we'll do like a signature edition, a very low run, you could see yourself obviously revisiting something like that. Yeah, especially for this where it was charity. And the other thing is, the only thing, so my basic attitude in this is very much on your page. You call it limited edition, you call it sold out, then stick to your guns and say this is it. On the other hand, there are so many people who are only now finding out about us and missing basically almost all Batmobiles, right? Yeah. How do you deal with that, right? There's, on the one hand, there's what you and I have discussed, it's a limited edition, run and done, you're too bad. On the other hand, there's like, yeah, but I never got the chance, and now the scalpers are making your money. Because if you look at the 1966, they're going for, on average, between $3,000 and $4,500, right? I've seen it. Yeah. Those people make more money on their car than I have ever made on any of them, right? So it's a tough question, and since there's still a lot to do, I would say for most of them it's one and done. Right. And there's stuff I never want to revisit, even if people pay me a lot of money, like the very first Ultimate Death Star. I'm never doing that again. Oh, come on. How much money do I have to give you? No. So that's every not man happening. Has his price, right? No. So no. Okay. I tried, everybody. I tried. Yeah. Same goes for, I'm not going to do the Bespin Gantry again. I'm not going to do the meditation chamber again. There's a lot of stuff. What's my camera doing? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, so there's a lot. I can guarantee that are never coming back. Can I guarantee it for all? It's just too hard to say. I would say probably not. And if it comes back, it's not going to be the same thing. It's not going to be the same thing. Okay, that makes sense. And yeah, and you're right. It is a hard question, but you know, I gotta ask.
But so-
I gotta ask because this is the community asking. There are a lot of that's a lot of they want to know like, hey,
and it's a fair question too.
Yeah, it's like that's a lot of money. I want to buy this. I want to feel I spent money well spent, right? Money well spent.
Yeah. But so let's take the 1966 for instance. How about in 2 years' time I revisit that and do like the set used version in the matte paint? That's a different vehicle then, right? Maybe do a limited edition, numbered edition, something like that. So you're never going to get the chance to get that vehicle that you have right now. Maybe not even do the lights anymore because that was for the first limited run. Mm-hmm. But something like that, I could imagine being open to that, right? To do a matte version without lights, maybe even do the version that was on the earlier prototypes with the white striping. I don't know. But we're never doing that 1966 as you have it again.
Right, I see what you mean. So anything would be distinctly different, right?
Yeah. If at all, right? If at all. And there's plenty I can tell you right now we're not revisiting. At all.
Yeah, you just totally ruined my day, man, talking about never doing No, I'm kidding. All the old Star Wars stuff, because that was me. You were mentioning, people are like, oh, I never even heard of this. I didn't know there was a Batmobile. Like, a lot of people missed out. I'm that way with a lot of the Star Wars diorama stuff.
Yeah, but see, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So if you want to keep exclusivity for your Batmobile and your Bat Signal, then I can't revisit the Star Wars stuff either, or both, right? So, and it's impossible to please everybody, especially collectors. Believe me, I've tried and failed. But it's a fair question, and I want to tread lightly there, and I do not want to make the mistake Hot Toys makes by just reissuing stuff identical to what they've already done. Yeah, because it's a little bit of again, it's the community is very divisive on these subjects, but on the one half of the people feel that way as well, where it's like, a reissue, right? I don't want that. Others are like, hey, this is cool, I don't mind it. I didn't have an opportunity to get it. So you're really kind of threading a needle in this collecting community. Exactly.
I don't know any other way to explain it other than that.
Very true, because then so I could imagine sometimes maybe, but never the same thing. And for most of the stuff, I would say no reissues. And if we're doing a reissue, got to be a good reason. It's got to be plenty different, so that it doesn't lessen. That's maybe the right word. If we do anything, it should not lessen what we've done before, or feel like you've been screwed for backing us early, because you never. That's the same reason why we never do discounts. We get this question a lot. I've never done discounts. There's two reasons for that, or three. Okay, the first reason is then you would be screwing the people who have your back early, which is when you need them, and you have to back those people, right?
Right.
Because you would feel what the fuck?
Right. No, of course.
Else. Yeah. Second reason, if you buy something with this huge discount, then you pay too much up front, right? If there's so much margin to give away, you're doing something wrong. And thirdly, I just don't have a lot of margin to give away at all, so we can't afford it. But I always feel screwed if I find something that's available for half price, because like, what? How much money did they make on that, right? So yeah, it's the same reason I never do discounts, because I want to honor the people who backed me when I needed them to do that product.
Right, which makes sense. And then there's, again, it's some people feel it, some people don't, but I mean, I'm one of the guys that definitely feels it. Like, if you buy something, I've bought a figure off a sideshow, at retail with tax and shipping, and then a couple weeks later you're seeing these resellers sell it for half off or something, and you're like, yo, I just spent this much money and now it's this much money, and you're like, hey, you feel a little
I can, and totally, and our business model would not support that. If you have that much margin to give away, we don't, so it doesn't work anyway.
No, that's awesome. And I appreciate the honest answers, man, because that's what people value the most, right? Transparency.
Yes. I always say I have nothing to hide, and I welcome these questions because they're good questions. Want to move to the 2022?
Yeah, is this what we got right here? What we got here? Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the first 3 early samples from production. So for the people who have missed this, I've called this the Swiss watch of Batmobiles. There are over 350 individual parts in each Batmobile you buy from us. So yeah, right now the tooling is done, and we want to start on production, and so we're testing out how everything fits together. And look at all these parts. These are just the black parts for just 3 vehicles. Look at that. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, Gus. And so here are the silver parts. So based on what you're seeing here, we're already moving a little bit further ahead. Look at all those silver parts. We had to make a couple adjustments to the tooling, but this is the final version of the weathered version. This is what people will be getting if they order the weather version. And this is the final version of the clean unit for the people who ordered that. You can
that
see,
looks sexy.
Yeah, very subtle. Yeah, it's not even weathering, but and you can see the same here if you look
just like a little wear and tear, like some of the
it's
realism.
subtle. Yeah, right here too, you know, and then the rest is just almost pristine for the clean version.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the 2022.
And for those who may not know, right? So you, as you mentioned, you made 2 versions. You get the regular version, the weathered version. The status of those vehicles as far in terms of pre-orders, wait list, is this still something available for them? Is this is this over now? We're waiting on wait list.
Yeah, it's waitlist, but early waitlist. So for the 2022, you're still I think your chances are pretty good of converting. I would definitely get on the wait list. The way to get to the wait list is go to our website, go to sold out, and then just click the product you want to be on the wait list for. There's going to be a button there, and that says add me to the wait list. Since you need an account on our website, it will automatically put that wait list in your account. But more importantly, I will have the information I need, so it's not that you have to put in everything you do. Here's a picture of the early test for the box. Oh, by the way, so the final version will have spot UV lacquer on the vehicle, like we've done with the previous releases. But let's see if there's. I don't have a video of the box. I thought I had a video of the box, but yeah. So. We will have something to show very soon, but as you can see, well, I'm personally quite happy with how this is turning out, but it is a nightmare to make. I've made an update video that I'm sharing later this week on all products, but this is the only product that's going to be delayed a bit. I think we're still talking weeks here, but I think it might be anywhere between 5 to 9 weeks of extra time we need because of this. It's just a lot more work. So again, like I always say in these cases, there's not a lot. We're not charging extra for the extra hours that it takes us to make this. So all we're asking for is a couple of weeks of patience. To pay with your patience, and for the 2022 is the one for this year. I think is just going to take a lot more time because of those 350 plus pieces, plus lights, plus sound, plus smoke, plus the remote control of those features. Yeah, it's going to be a very badass release. But
yeah, it looks awesome.
5 to 9 weeks. Yeah,
it does look awesome. This is a good question. A couple people in chat asked 1.6 shooter and Iron King. Respectively, wondering, still waiting, or any word on Hot Toys, or what is Hot Toys and InArt doing? Are you privy to any of that knowledge? Are they, because they both were saying that. I don't even know if even so, is that even a concern, right? But where, because Hot Toys teased one like a year ago.
No, they
said they were doing one.
Yeah. No, so Hot Toys showed a rendering that was not a prototype. There was never a prototype, because if you look at all the shows and the brand stores openings that they've done so far, they've shown a lot of prototypes there, but not one of the 2022. So I can say these things. I can say the same thing I've been saying for over a year, guys. I was the only one that actually submitted a job in the Star Labs environment for Warner Brothers. For that's what the environment is called, for approval for that product. I'm the only one who got approval for that product when I got approval for the product. I've since then not heard of anything else. We've never seen a prototype other than that rendering, and InArt has not gone beyond somewhere in a chat saying they intended to do it, but they've never shown anything. So if you're asking me, based on all that, the chances are very slim to none that you'll ever see anything by those other brands. And I thought, well, that was karma, because we know. No, well, you can never know, but I've heard from people on the inside that Hot Toys did that render 2 days after I announced the product, just to well, I don't know, mess with us, but that was a response. Let's just say it was a response to our release of that product. And,
I believe it. I mean, remember, I think, what was it, a year ago?
Yeah.
One of the times that you were on the show with me, and you hadn't mentioned anywhere, whether it's your public Facebook group, your private, you never mentioned anywhere that you were considering doing the DeLorean. And then it was like 2 weeks later, they were like, boom, here's the DeLorean. Let's dust off the old 2016.
So with a prototype that had been done for years.
Yeah. So I could see that. Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Calvin, my man, also in the house. You know, Calvin has a lot of your products. Says, good morning, gentlemen.
I love that.
Any updates on the BVS Batcave? That 95 were paid in full.
Cool. The Batcave, as promised, we're still working on that new prototype with the new construction. Should be done in June, as promised. 95, I don't know if you were there at the beginning of the show, but we showed pictures of the near final prototype. So that's looking good. That's on track. 89 Batmobile. In case you missed it, we got a very last minute chance to scan the actual hero car in full scale, and that 3D scan is now being processed, and we basically had to redesign some things in our model. So the 89 is going to be by far the most accurate. And by the way, I was right. It needs to be 4 inches longer in 6 scale. 1989 pre-order window. No, the 1995 pre-order window is closing. I would say July. 1989, not as long as we don't have a prototype that's approved by Warner Brothers. So I'd say you're safe until September for the 1989.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'm curious, because we talked again about this as well about a year ago, and everybody, when we're talking about Hot Toys and stuff, and you and I, we spoke about the N1, and Hot Toys started doing all this N1 stuff. And I remember you were like, well, I don't really want to do anything if they're doing something. It's obviously just it's counterintuitive in that respect. But if they don't even do this, are you still even considering something like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I want it. Oh. Yeah. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You don't have to worry. You will get an N1 Starfighter, if not by Hot Toys, then by me.
Okay. That's good to know, I think. Now, but is it licensed, or are you just doing it, or is there a factor involved? Are you trying to do anything like that, or are we going just, hey, I'm just going to make it?
I'm going to make it, and it's going to be extremely limited edition, like all the other custom stuff, like the Snowspeeder, like the Falcon cockpit. Somebody asked, are there still a few units left? Yeah, but I would say less than half a dozen. But it's going to be way too limited edition to do that licensed. I think I don't think there's a market that could carry that kind of numbers. It's always good to have the 4 extra inches, right? So for the next vehicle, though, I just put up a poll a couple of weeks ago where people got to vote between. You probably saw it, right? But people got to vote between the Episode 3 Jedi Starfighter and what was the other one? Anakin's pod racer from Episode 1. There was a quite clear majority for the Episode 3 Starfighter. So I think it's going to be around June that I'm going to be opening pre-orders for a custom version of that one as soon as we start shipping the Snowspeeders. So that's going to be the next Star Wars vehicle. After that, I will probably know if it's going to be me or Hot Toys making the N1 Starfighter after the Episode 3 Jedi Starfighter. That's it. That's the fact.
Right, because we'll probably want to see what happens, right? Like once you've officially put up a Starfighter for pre-order, we get to that stage. It's kind of like a game of chess, sort of, right? We're gonna see what happens. What does Hot Toys think they're, because maybe they're like, you know what, hey, now we're putting out the N1 or something, right? And then you kind of go from there. It's kind of just feeling the room, seeing what's happening.
Yeah, but I must say their N1 prototype, it gave me the same vibe as their, I want to say the BVS version, where it was quite out there with actual electronically moving parts and all that sort of thing, like the spinning rotors and all that sort of thing. That is incredibly hard to do in production, and if you're going to do that in production, it's going to cost a pretty penny. So a lot of people are asking how much it might be, but I'm assuming that's still a little too early to tell. But yeah, I would say at least 2,500, right? I mean, such limited edition, and then the size of a Batwing. It's going to be an expensive
and it's
piece.
6 feet. It's 6 feet long, so I don't even know how.
Oh, we would have to break it up in parts, but the thing is, where you can't do that with the Snowspeeder, which is why it's such a big box. You could do that with the N1, where you can have the tail, because there's also these exposed rods where the panels are missing from the back. You can just click that in and then collect the two side engines on the front, like we did with the land speeder. So I can imagine that one coming apart and being shippable in parts, where that's not possible with something like a Snowspeeder, because you can't. There are no.
Right. Well, it's like the Batwing, right? You have got the rod in between where you can affix the wings, things like that. So it's much easier to not just ship one giant 6-foot coffin. You know what I mean? It would be huge. I mean, that would be huge.
Yeah. So I would say 6 feet, right? Yeah, it might go towards $3,000. I don't know. That's the beauty of the Episode 3 Jedi Starfighter, though. It's a much smaller vehicle. So, and I'm excited about that. I love that design. I have my Episode 3 Anakin here. I have the Jedi eye, the Sith version of him with the red eyes.
Yeah, the dark side Anakin.
The dark side Anakin. Doesn't matter. I'm going to put him in there anyway.
Might as well. So, of course.
Yeah. So basically, next pre-orders, it's going to be the next 1966 project. Pre-orders is probably going to open end of May, probably on a Friday, and do that live event again, where the people first come, first serve. If you want to get on that early, you can get on with that live event probably the last Friday of May for the 1966. Then in June, the Episode 3 Starfighter, and then I don't know, for the N1, it's going to be next year before we open that for pre-order. Okay.
I know CT he's in and out right now, so I know he missed this, but as you know, he's got a couple coming. So for those who just rejoining, can we just kind of reiterate on that one, the speeder's shipping?
Yeah. So speeder is 1 or 2 weeks delayed if you're in the first batch. So instead of June 30th, it's going to be, let's say, second week of July. For everybody else, it's going to be ahead of schedule. All speeders, snow speeders, are going to be ready to ship in July. So everybody who can, pay yours off, even if you're on a payment plan. If you can, that helps us out a lot. Pay your shipping charges when you get them. But
good.
Don't worry. Yeah, Jose, you don't worry. The vast majority was for that Episode 3 Starfighter. So it was.
In other words, your vote didn't matter.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that.
I'm kidding.
It's not gonna swing anything. It was quite clear. It's quite clear. And so if you want to have influence on the next 66 project, I would suggest voting, because it was close last time I checked. Let me check again.
Sure. We'll bring that up.
Ooh, it's neck and neck. Look at that. It's neck and neck for the people saying they want to buy the 𝗕𝗘𝗥𝗖𝗙 versus what's going on here. Show me the full screen. Yeah. 35% for the cave and the 𝗕𝗘𝗥𝗖𝗙. Ooh. I was thinking the Bat boat had a bigger chance than this. It's dead last. So if you want to vote on this, we've already done the vote on the Jedi Starfighter, I'm afraid, but that was a clear cut. That was much clearer than this. So yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me this is interesting here too. 1/6 shooter. So can I suggest a lighted ceiling for the Falcon cargo hold, something that would screw onto the shelf or cabinet itself? And I was going to ask you that because you do for a lot of the Star Wars fans out there, for the Millennium Falcon, the cargo hold, you've been creating quite a lot of attachments of sorts, right? I mean, like, are there more plans? Because you're going. There's how many parts are there right now? Like 3, 4? I forget.
Yeah, if you could open the yeah. Sure. So this
Let's bring that up. Oh, that looks beautiful.
Thank you. This is basically everything. You're looking at, this was the original product, which is what was called the cargo hold with the bench seat and then a part of this back wall and the Jazzinc table. Then people wanted to expand on that, and we made this side, but people wanted this back wall without the seam, so we made that as a single piece. That was a big mistake, by the way. Huge shipping issue, but anyway. Hey, goedenavond. So this is the basic TrueScale extension set for that. But if you wanted everything, which means these parts, these floors, these parts, then you need the DX extension. And then finally, we've made a complete extension for this part. The, what was this called again? Help me out. Do you remember, Anthony?
I don't remember, but I know all we got some people in the chat that know. Like it's the bunker area, the bunk area. I don't know the actual name, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, so if you want everything, you'll need the basic cargo hold, and then either the TrueScale, or if you want it all, the DX extension with this Diego sleep bunk, and then you'll have the entire cargo hold. We don't plan on, thank you, and Henrik, we don't plan on doing any more though. This is one of those projects where I'm losing money, so I just I'm not going to do that anymore. By the way, damn it, Spock, hold that question. Hold that thought.
Hold that thought. Interesting. Even I don't know what you're talking about, but now I have an idea. There was a couple questions that are some people are asking some of the same questions in the chat. This is something I also wanted to kind of bring up. You mentioned Batman, the license. We're going from all the way back to 66. Technically, it's not Batman, but it's under Warner Brothers. Is there any talks at all, officially or unofficially, in any capacity, of anything from the upcoming Flash movie?
It still remains to be seen. So the most obvious thing would be the Batwing from the Flash. But I have to wonder if there's going to be enough support for something that's so fresh. So if anything from the Flash, I could imagine figures that Hot Toys isn't touching is most likely the most likely suspect for anything Flash related.
Okay. No, it's good to know. I know there's people, like I said, there's some people in the chat wondering about that. If I can just bring it back a little bit into the conversation, when we were talking about you getting into 6-scale figures, obviously the production time, turnaround time, all this, and the licensing, have you well, I'm sure you have, but do you have an estimate or where you would like to be in terms of pricing that you can talk about at all, or anything like that?
So leaving out the limited edition we've discussed or the double packs, I really want to be at the same price as close to the same price as Hot Toys, even though we will be making a much more extremely limited edition, right? So like I said, a couple hundred pieces worldwide, if I get lucky, 1,000 pieces worldwide, which is again like a 50th of what Hot Toys does for a regular figure. So then without those massive quantities of scale, it's going to be hard, but we are aiming for that $250 to $300 per figure price point.
Okay. That's pretty much the norm right now. I would say somewhere around that range, because as we know, and you know as well, I mean, InArt's doing some great things, but they're the pricing. Some people get priced out, right? And I know that's
what I want to prevent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool. We do have a $2 super chat from Don, my friend. Thank you so much. He said, when will kit be up for pre-order?
Yeah, so I would still need to work out all the details with Universal. So that's, if anything, it's going to be somewhere second half of next year.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much, my friend, for that super chat. Yeah, because it's just still too early. Still too early to know at this point. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. That is very cool. Yeah, it's a big year. So we have a lot of stuff coming. So to refresh on that, so we've got the Snowspeeder shipping this year.
Probably 6 weeks from now. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're into June, July. And then what else can we expect to be shipping this year?
So then, let me get my schedule. No, I can do it from memory. Snowspeeder, then the last batch of 1966s, then the 2022, then the signature Zack Snyder signature BVS and Justice League Batmobiles, then the final batch of Bat Signals, final batch of Bat Wings, and hopefully end of December, the first batch of 1995s. I think I have everything then for this year. So
that's 7 pieces. Yeah,
and that's basically most of the Batmobiles. So this year, 1966 BVS, Justice League, 2022, and 1995, and then next year, early next year, is 1989 Batmobile. And then we'll open the Kickstarter in Q4 of this year for the 1/12 scale 1989 Batmobile, and if that's a big success, then we'll do more 12 scale stuff in Kickstarter.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
now
later, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering. So would you consider doing a 12 scale Batwing 89?
Yeah. If the 1989 Batmobile in 12 scale is a success, then definitely. I know Hot Toys has teased theirs, but again, they can't stop us from making our version. And there's a couple of accuracy issues with theirs, apart from the paint and the weathering, which is absent because it's just black plastic. So I think there could be a market for 12 scale Batwing done.
Yeah, I think so, because I think, even though a lot of collectors kind of stay in 6 scale, not everybody does, and I know that was a lot of people's reservations as well, is just the size, right? The grand scale of it, right? 6, you got to mount it, you got to, of course there's, so having something a little more compact but still kind of giving you that representation, I think it could work. Because like for me, something like that, I would kind of do like a forced perspective or something if I had a display and be like, hey, look, there's a Batwing kind of in the distance, so it's about yay big versus so that I could see that maybe.
Which reminds me of another idea that came up a while ago. I don't even remember. I want to credit the guy but I can't remember his name, which I think was a good idea. How about, let's call it a power pose 1989 Batman, which is a Batman that is sitting down for your current Hot Toys 1989 Batmobile, or your current 1989 Jazzinc Batwing, or your upcoming Jazzinc 1989 Batmobile, where you don't have to worry about your DX9 rubber suit breaking down if you have to put it in a sitting position. And if that works, we could also look at that for other Batman figures. I thought that was a cool and neat idea.
That is actually a really cool idea. That is very cool, because especially if you have the license. So
yeah,
I would do that if I had the Batwing or the Batmobile. I would much rather than, you know, you're right.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And if I would keep it low cost, so just the figure, no accessories, you don't need any extra hands except the hands gripping something. Maybe not even an exchangeable faceplate. Then maybe you could do it sub $200. I don't know, but I thought that was an idea that had a lot of merit.
Oh yeah, that would work. That would 100% work, because that's a concern with a lot of people anyway, right? Especially with the DX09 or other figures in general, but especially that with the suit. You know, let's say I take him, I bend him, I throw him in there. He's in there for a year, whatever. Especially if you have it mounted, like you're not going to go back up there and try to take him out and kind of keep, you know, kind of reset the suit if even possible, right? And then you could potentially just be damaging your figure, you know, in that sustained pose like that. So that's actually, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. So something like that could also work. Thanks, Red.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Time for that final thing.
Sure, I'd be interested to hearing what that is.
Yeah. Well, I think you have an idea now. So the same company that approached me for the Karate Kid, Top Gun, RoboCop licensing, they initially approached me for Star Trek. And I said, well, Star Trek is already done by EXO. Well, your
EXO
company
6,
is it?
Yep.
Is it? Yeah. So, but I could imagine making dioramas and maybe even vehicles for Star Trek. And so I wanted to get your opinion on that. Maybe just as a collector, not as an EXO 6 employee. Do you think that might be an idea?
I think there could be a room for it. I mean, if you're talking about vehicles are going to be a little tricky, right? Because 6 scale is large when you're factoring in a starship.
Yeah, but like a shuttle.
Right, but maybe a shuttle interior, something similar, maybe like the Millennium Falcon cockpit, you know, things of that nature, I can see, right? Because otherwise you're going to go down the route of, you know, master replicas or Tomy, where they're doing like 100, you know, 350 scale starships, right?
Yeah,
because even at 350, that's still like a whole shelf. You know, it's so big. So yeah, I could definitely see something like that.
Yeah, and so how much? What is there currently? I mean, I can see a captain's chair behind you, but like a part of the bridge or something of that nature of any of the Star Trek franchises. Is there anything available like that?
Sort of, but it's the thing is they're large, right? So you'll have to factor that in, and depending on what franchise you'd want to go to, right? Like what would be the most desirable, things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the chairs, there's the backdrop, you know, the wall panels, the panels of the starships. I think what you mentioned, like as far as like a shuttle, would be very cool, right? Because I'm thinking Falcon cockpit size shuttle, something like that. I think would be really interesting to see.
But is there a market big enough for that? I mean, even Star Wars, which I would say is a bigger draw for 6 scale than Star Trek.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I don't think so, personally. Yeah, but it would still be really cool. Yeah, if that makes sense. But
yeah, so they approached me to say if I would do Star Trek with the quality and the stuff that we're doing, and I said, well, I'm not interested in the figures because you got EXO 6. Then it would have to be the diorama pieces, but I don't know if there's a market for that. And that's how the conversation led to their other licenses, where I could see the figures being an interesting way in. But so yeah, that was basically my question, and I think we're thinking the same thing, that it might be cool, but just not. There's not enough market to support a bridge or parts of the bridge or a cockpit.
Yeah, like I saw a guy on eBay who was making the original series bridge, but he had been breaking it down you can buy it modular, kind of similar to how you're doing the Falcon cargo hold, right? Like the piece by piece, you can buy them and then attach everything together, or buy the whole thing as it is. But it ended up being like $5,000 or something for the entire bridge of the original Enterprise.
Okay. Whoa.
And then, yeah. So, but that could be whatever he's doing, as far as what resources are available to him, things of that nature. But then you have to factor in, like you were saying, how popular is that in the sense, like if you're going to go into production.
Transporter room is iconic. I could see that.
Transporter room for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. But is it worth getting that license and doing the minimum guarantee and the legal hassle and all that sort of thing? I haven't decided, but I'm not sure if it's going to be viable. Maybe that would have to be a Kickstarter too.
That's a possibility. That is a possibility.
Have you? I don't. Maybe I'm skating on thin ice, dangerous territory here. But has Exo6 ever thought about doing like diorama pieces?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I know we have the chair, so I don't really know. At this point, I don't know. So it could be a thing.
Yeah. Well, I was honored to be asked.
Of course.
But all right. It's just something to consider. But like I said, focus for now is just getting done what we're supposed to get done.
Right.
And then the whole figure rollout thing. And if we get the figures right, then we can do those other IPs we've been talking about. So,
I mean, for me as a Star Trek fan, of course, I would love stuff like that. But it's difficult when it comes to, like you mentioned, like Star Wars has more of that mainstream pull. Even though Star Trek's been around forever, and it has a huge community. I don't know how many of them are avid, 6-scale collectors or into, large scale diorama pieces, right?
It's fascinating to me. It's the same thing with like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, right? I mean, those are huge franchises, I would say, but they don't hold a candle to anything Marvel or DC or Star Wars. I would say, in terms of what I see in the collecting community. Just the numbers of figures.
I mean, they really have. I mean, Star Wars and Marvel's really locked down a huge corner of like pop culture, right? And in any form of collectibles. So
and like I said,
go ahead.
And dioramas and vehicles for Star Wars is even iffy in terms of what I could only do them as a custom, very limited run. So
right, I mean, you would know because you've done a bunch, so you can kind of get your own sales projections and ideas of, is this cost effective, to do this or to continue doing this, and then you take another IP that might be not sell as much, right? Clearly, when you're looking at that, because you kind of have to look at Star Wars and Marvel as kind of a giant. Plus, it's Disney now, and they, Disney's like a master of marketing and getting the words out and making things really, I don't want to say like trendy, but really popular to the masses, the general masses, to where it makes sense for somebody like Hot Toys to keep cranking these out, right? Because they know, it doesn't matter, they're gonna buy it. They're gonna buy it. They already know that. So it is always it's always tricky.
It's very true. If I wasn't a huge Star Wars fan, I would probably drop that line, the line of products. It's not those projects. It's just that I really want to do them. I love seeing that, like on the bench, seeing a Snowspeeder come to life and to fruition. But that's the reason I'm doing it. So I can imagine the same thing for Star Trek.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, and sometimes it's difficult for us, you yourself, because you're already producing stuff. But I'm sure you know as well that like it's difficult for us as fans to separate the fandom from the business, right? And what I mean by that is, like, you as a Star Wars fan, even though you have clearly the capability of producing whatever you want, that's your favorite, yeah, you have to sometimes be like, okay, I can't, I got to separate my fandom because I got to see what's realistic here, right? Because I'm sure all of us, we would take everything. Build me the whole Falcon. I mean, realistically,
Yeah, it's my fandom has burned me several times already with that sort of thing. For like I said, the cargo hold expansion, I should never even have touched that. So there's other projects as well. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But it's interesting though, and the people who do have the cargo hold have something special to them though.
Yeah, extremely limited edition is special.
But I can totally understand your, kind of wanting to, if you weren't such a fan, because there's a lot of hardships involved and all these factors into it, and I totally understand that. But I think this was great. I don't know if there's anything else we want to touch on today, any other questions, or if there's a couple questions in the chat we can kind of run through for the next 5 minutes if you guys have anything in particular you want to ask. But
yeah, let's do 5 more minutes of questions, and then we've done an hour and 45 minutes. Oh wow!
Oh, we can go another 3. You know us, and we'll be like, wow, we've been chatting all day. But to kind of keep it a little, I really wanted to have a nice, like, compact 2-hour stream that's just there's a lot to unpack here today for everybody,
and lots of news for a lot of people.
Yeah, which is absolutely amazing. It sounds like this, again, as I mentioned before, this is a big year. This is a big year for you.
Yeah.
So absolutely amazing. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, shoot them out in the chat right now. We could probably run through a couple here in the next 5-10 minutes, and then we'll probably go ahead and wrap for today. Coffin's wondering, any idea or Kickstarters on Alien or Predator?
Well, Predator has been covered pretty well by Hot Toys, I would say.
A long time ago, though.
Yeah. Again, that would lead back to what we discussed earlier. I don't know if he was there, if Coffin was there, but I don't want to spread myself too thin with all the licenses. So unless something like Alien is available under Warner Brothers or Universal, or that company that is also talking to me about the Star Trek, Top Gun, Men in Black, RoboCop stuff, I think those are the 3 parties I want to stick to for now. So unless it's under that umbrella, I would say for now it's not worth getting a 4th party involved with all the pre-financing, legal issues, and all that sort of thing.
Okay, that's good. That is good. Buzz is wondering, you mentioned the licensed world outside of Warner. If we're talking 80s, I'd love to see you do a Lee Majors from Fall Guy along with his GMC truck or anything Beverly Hills.
I get requests every day. That's the first time I've heard either. So I don't know if there's enough of a market for that. 80s is Kit, the Knight Rider, A-Team, maybe the General Lee, even though that might not be woke enough anymore.
It might not, but I don't think those types of people are buying products.
No. So yeah, I don't see that. The Mach 5. I'm still interested to do that, definitely. But Rob, I would say not. I can't even think about that until next year. But the Mach 5 is definitely on my list, and I'm going to do that.
That'll be really cool to see. That would be cool to see. That's an interesting question from Iron King. Says, Joost, what's the biggest challenge as a company?
Oh, well, you got so many things to juggle. So maybe that is the answer. I mean, you're juggling cash flow and financing, margins, storage space, production, prototyping, design, service, answering 100 and 150 messages a day just between me, Yannick, and Kiara. I mean, so it's a lot of juggling, and some of it is really a tightrope act to give everything enough attention, and also to make, because our margins are so slim and so small, it's easy to fall on the wrong side of that, right? So it's that tightrope act while still staying in touch with everyone and not growing too large so that I can't, because Kiara and I go through every message every day, even if I don't answer all of them anymore. So yeah, I think it's the tightrope act. That's the biggest challenge, while still having a future, right? Because like we've discussed earlier, this is a big year. How do you follow that? So
right.
But it is an interesting 3D puzzle. That's for sure.
That's absolutely true, my friend. I'm sorry I didn't see your super chat earlier, but thank you so much, Lord Fug. He says, yo, please do the original motion picture bridge, first movie, like the old Mego playset. Well, thank you, my man.
How large would that be? Would you venture a guess, Anthony?
Larger than the Batwing?
Oh, yeah. So that would have to be modular and make parts, probably not all of it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for us with the Batcave. If we do the 1966 Batcave, that's 7 feet. So we can only do a couple of computers and maybe the atomic stack, right?
Right. So it's just like components that you can put up to kind of give that illusion, you know, that you're, hey, I'm in the Batcave type. But the full scale is, it's you know, because Playmates would do that too. They would make like the bridges and stuff like that. But they were small. You know, they were much smaller scale, so it could, you know, look. Okay, that was not too bad. Damn it, Spock says, Joost, if money wasn't an option, what is your dream project to make?
All right, so I'm going to include with that space is not an issue. And then I would just want to make the 6-scale Falcon. Full, just the whole Millennium Falcon. Money not an option, space not an option. That would be a dream project. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Maybe a cool remote-controlled Batmobile, maybe. And even though none of them were in the movie, because people ask me about diecast, most of them aren't. I would love to make like a full remote control light up diecast Batmobile, but then that would be something that's like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I don't know, but that would be also that'd be so cool. I don't know if you've ever seen it. There was this video on Facebook circulating a while ago where you could get a James Bond scale model DB5 with all the fixins and everything, and the thing was like $300,000, but that looked so amazing. It was in this cool box with felt drawers and all the parts, and everything worked, and you know, something like that would be a dream.
Bob Dylan says F-14 Tomcat from '86 Top Gun, just the cockpit.
Definitely interested to do that. If we get, I think the biggest problem has already been addressed in the chat, getting Tom Cruise to sign off on a figure of Maverick and maybe the old Maverick as well. If we get that, then because I'm such a huge fan, I used to build these models, and the F-14 was always my favorite plane. So doing an F-14 Tomcat cockpit would be a cool project, and definitely interesting because there would be a crossover market for airplane and
100%.
fighter. Yeah.
There's a lot of collectors out there too, right? That just collect a lot of military figures.
Yeah. So I can definitely see that, which is one of the other cool reasons why I thought a Top Gun figure could be very cool. You put the helmet on, you got a 6-scale fighter jet pilot, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm really hoping that's going to be viable.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I do have a $2 super chat. Thank you, my man. Boba Fettuccini says, great stream. Thank you both for what you do. Well, much appreciated.
Yes, my pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Most days.
Right, most days. No. So, but guys, no, this has been great. This has been a great stream, guys. Make sure to obviously, if anybody here has never heard of you, the link's obviously in the description. Go to Jazzinc Dioramas. You can join your Facebook group too as well for updates. Anywhere else, your YouTube channel, of course. You'll put some videos there as well. Any final words, parting profound thoughts, speeches, anything you'd like to share?
I have a dream. No. I just want to thank the community to enable us to keep doing what we're doing. This is cool. I love these live streams. I love all the ideas. I mean, I've come back with a couple of ideas that I hadn't thought before, like the limited edition figures, the Dark Seed possibility, the other stuff. I have to watch this again and make notes.
Me too.
So Thank you so much for that. Thank you for giving me the time and the opportunity to do this, Anthony. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for coming.
Final thoughts.
Always.
Yeah, final thoughts. Snowspeeders, pay yours off if you can. Get on the wait list while you still can on the sold out part of the website. If you want to get real behind the scenes, go to our closed Facebook group, become a member. Right now, there's a poll up for the next 1966 project. So thank you so much.
66 has just begun, is what.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, everybody, then we are out of here. I hope you guys have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. And I don't know. It's May, so we'll probably, I don't know, August, September. We'll see. Tune in tomorrow where we're going to have a special guest, Joost. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so a couple, probably a couple months. We'll see how things go. So awesome, guys. All right, everybody, we're out of here. You have a great rest of your day. Take care.